real, relevant, and revelatory. The ministry of Dr. Charles Jerone Francis II has been blessing people around the world for over 25 years. Please prepare for a God encounter you will never, ever forget. Join us now as we prepare to hear a word from the Lord through our apostle, Dr. Francis.
Hey. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to each and every one of you. And welcome to Grits and Glory. I'm Dr. Charles Jerome Francis II, and I'm so glad you decided to join me this morning for this next installment. Listen, before we get started, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button, hit that share button. Tell somebody that we're on the air and that we're getting ready to share the goodness of the Lord. It is the second Sunday in November, and I'm so glad that you woke up this early to be with me. Those of you who go to Bedside Baptist, and and those of you who are on your way to church and join us on your way to church, welcome as well. Listen, before I get started today, my heart is a little heavy. I've been up all night. My heart is a little heavy, and one of the gentleman who played in my band at my church when we first started our brick and mortar church. It was our drummer and a member of our church. We call him Big Mike. He lost his mother on last evening, yesterday, and I really want you to pray for him. All of the audience of you who are watching me, I'm sure you don't know Mike. Many of you do, but many of you don't. But he lost his brother last year. He lost his father 4 months ago, and then yesterday he lost his mother. I can't even fathom, and I don't want to get emotional on here, but I can't even fathom how he can feel at this point. And I really would appreciate if you all would join us and band together in prayer for him. He now is the only person left in his family. Of course, he may have aunts and uncles and nieces and nephews and cousins, but in his immediate family, he's the only one left. And I can't even imagine how he may be feeling at this time. I don't even know if he will see what I'm saying at this point, and it's really okay because I'd rather him feel the prayers than to even see what I'm saying. But all of you who are joining me under the sound of my voice, would you join me today at some point in prayer for Big Mike and his family, that God would keep him? I'm sending out love and prayer not only to him, but even to those who minister with him on a regular, who are a part of a band with him, on a regular. Minister DJ, Minister Jerone, Kev, everybody, Tristan, all of y'all. Our love and prayers are with you all. And I know that God will guide you through and get you through this situation and help Big Mike to get it through. So Big Mike, our prayers are with you today. We love you from all of us here at the Creative Experience, all of your brothers and sisters here at the Creative Experience, and all of the Grits and Glory family who are joining us as well today. We love you and we send our prayers your way. Okay. Let's get into what we're going to talk about today. I had some other things that I want to do today with everybody, but I'm not going to even go into it. I was going to talk about Charlie's Coffee Club. Let's do that next week. We'll get to it, okay? But I will today. What my plan is today is I'm going to share more like a small plates installment with you all today. So lots of things that God has given me over the last month that I didn't have a chance to share because I was in a specific series. So some things along this series and some other places prophetically that the Lord has given me that I want to share with you today that I believe is going to bless you. So stick around here. Let's go ahead and share what the Lord has said or is saying, or I believe He's saying. Okay. First thing I want to say is there is a lyricist who says something like this. His name is Christopher Wallace. He says something like this: more money, more problems. Excuse me, once again, still trying to get over this cold per se. More money, more problems is what is what Chris Wallace said. More money, more problems. In other words, those of you who are Bible thumpers, you would say, to whom much is given, much is required. And then for all of us who are just living this life, we'll say more of anything means more of everything. Apostle, where are you going with that? I mean that many of us are asking God or on this life journey pursuing more, wondering when the more is going to show up. Glory to God, I feel oppressed here. Trying to figure out when then the more it's going to show up. You're tired with the mundane. You're tired of where you are right now. You are feeling like things are a little bit complicated and still going nowhere. And you're trying to figure out why does my life feel so complicated and nothing's even happening at this point. I don't feel any movement. I don't feel any shaking. You don't feel your baby leaping at all or anything like that. But I want you to understand that more of anything, more of anything means more of everything. More of anything means more of everything. To whom much is given, much is required. More money, more problems. And so many of us don't understand that a blessing per se, we want the blessing, but we don't understand that blessing has a cousin called burden. I'm gonna say that again. Blessing has a cousin called burden. And so a lot of times we are so busy, we are hell bent on getting the blessing, and we're trying to figure out what did we do to be disqualified for the blessing. God, why are you not blessing me? What's wrong with me? Well, number one, we have to realize that the fact that you wake up every single morning, that you have breath in your body, is a blessing. And we're saying, well, that's not a miracle. I need a miracle. No, it is a miracle that you do all of the things that you do, and that you still have the ability to be here every day. You know, I have diabetes, type 2 diabetes, but I still love to drink soda. I still love to do some other things that I should not do, but I still do those things. And the truth of the matter is, it is a miracle that I wake up and get up every single morning. And I'm not doing that. Don't y'all start calling me and sending me texts and emails telling me about what I need to do and what I better be doing. No, I don't need that from you. I understand what needs to be done. I'm just trying to get a point across to you to let you know that there are some times where we are doing things, or we're living life, just living life and doing it the way we do it, that it is contrary to the miracle that we're thinking that we should get. It is a miracle that you wake up every morning. It is a miracle that you are able to get up and walk, and your body, you tell your brain to walk and your body just starts walking. Do you not understand that there are people who would love to walk and can't walk? Do you not understand that there are people who woke up one morning and their brain was scrambled and they couldn't even figure out how to form a word or how to eat anymore or how to make their legs walk? The fact of the matter is that you living is a breathing thing. You breathing is a great thing. You living is a miracle. And so we have to, number one, take hold of those miracles and say, God, I thank you for what you're doing in my life even now, even though it's not the extreme, even though I haven't seen the extremities of what I want to see. What I'm seeing right now is a very good thing. I feel the glory of the Lord here. Yes, take a moment and change your perspective and say, you know what? I might not have everything I want. It might not be going every way that I want it to go. But the truth of the matter is, I've done some things that really could take me out of here. I've done some things that really don't allow me to be, that could not allow me to be in the space that I'm in. So God, I thank you that I'm even here. I thank you for the opportunity to even have this moment in time. I thank you, oh God, that I was on the wake up list today. That my life didn't move to another iteration before I declared that I could. That I didn't go into another dimension before I declared that I could. So God, I thank you that I'm still here and that I still am able to make some things happen. And because I am able to make some things happen, God, I'll give you praise and move forward into making it happen. Okay? Blessing has a burden. Blessing has a cousin called burden. Okay, and the truth of the matter is, we all want the blessing, but most times we're not prepared for the burden that comes along with that blessing. Oh, Christopher was a prophet when he said it. He said, more money, more problems. Yes, when we ask for certain things, it's not that you're unworthy to get what you're asking for. It's just that most times we're not prepared for what we're asking for, because the opposite side of what we need is what God needs to get us prepared for. So yes, you may have the business acumen to be a millionaire. You may have what it takes to own your own business. You may have it all together to climb the ladder of success, but the truth of the matter is, there's a backside to all of that success. And most times we're ready for the front side, but we're not ready for the backside. We're ready for the blessing, but we're not ready for the burden. You want more followers, but you're not ready for what comes along with more followers. People were saying to me, oh, why don't you just jump back in and do what you need to do? The truth of the matter is, you have to be ready for the burden that comes along with the blessing. Wonderful car, bigger car note. Bigger house, bigger. You see what I'm saying? No longer a renter, but an owner. Yes, there's a burden to that. When the furnace goes out, they don't come and fix it. You got to pay for that. Yes, sir. So there is a burden to every blessing. All right. And we got to make sure that we are not forcing our life before it's time. Not only should you be prepared for the blessing, but you should be prepared for what comes along with the blessing. And how we do that is we get our character in line for what we are pursuing. One more time. We get our character in line for what we're pursuing. Okay, so yeah, we would all like to be all of these different types of things, but can you handle that? Mm-hmm. You want to be a star, but can you handle the scrutiny that comes along with being a star? Being a star today is very different than it was back in the day. People only saw what you projected on TV or what they read in the newspaper. But now, in the age of social media, a spotlight is on your life. Are you prepared for that? Every blessing has a burden. Oh, that's good. I feel the glory of the Lord here. Somebody type that in here, blessing and burden. Mm-hmm. Here's this. Some of us are living in a season of inconvenience. Okay. And see, what I used to think before I grew a little bit, and catch this, everybody's not here yet, and I understand that. But at some point, you'll get here and it'll change your life. It's all about perspective. I used to think, I'm living in a season of inconvenience, and the enemy is coming against me with everything he got because he want me to give up. And then I had to change my perspective on that. Hear me here. Hear me here. I'm not here to argue about whether the devil exists or not. That's on you. Your consciousness is where you live, and what goes on in your consciousness is what you're responsible for. I can only be responsible for what goes on in mine. And so when I shifted my perspective, I understood that it wasn't necessarily an enemy after me, but it was my future calling for me and my past wanting to hold me. And so I came out of the space of being in a place of inconvenience. I was always thinking, I'm inconvenienced because the enemy want me to give up. He don't want me to have my destiny. He don't want me to go forward. Then I realized the enemy was me. Y'all not going to talk to me here. The enemy wasn't some outside entity, wasn't somebody with red horns and a pitchfork. The enemy was my lower self, my lower vibration, wanting to keep me in the same space that was no longer good for me. It was a gravity pull to who I used to be. Y'all not going to talk to me here. There was a gravity pull, and it still happens today. It's a gravity pull every single day. And what you got to do is you got to fight that gravity pull. You got to fight that force field that continues to try to pull you backwards and keep you in the space of inconvenience. And you got to change your perspective and say, all of this is pushing me to where I need to be. Mm-hmm. In the movie Star Wars, they had a phrase that said, may the force be with you. Y'all, anybody know what I'm talking about? May the force be with you. Everything that was trying to hold you back seemed like it was holding you back. The lower you, the things that you used to participate in, who you used to be, let that push you to who you need to be. And so when we take the responsibility off of a character called Satan, off of a character called the devil, you see, because that's the cemetery that we send all of our dreams to when they seem too hard, or where there's a season where we're being challenged, then it's simple for us to throw it off on something called the enemy or the devil. But when you start growing up in God, when you start maturing in God, y'all not going to talk to me here. When you start maturing in God, you start growing in God, you understand that you can't put that responsibility on some other entity, that you got to take responsibility for your forward movement. So that means changing your perspective and saying all things work for the good of them that love the Lord and are the called according to his purpose. The good, the bad, and the ugly is working for me. Mm-hmm. And so even though I feel some kind of way in this space, I got to realize that there's something in this space that I got to learn so that I can go to my next dimension. Mm-hmm. And that I have to learn before I go to my next dimension is not necessarily the enemy. Mm-hmm. It's me fighting with me. Jacob said he had to wrestle. He was wrestling. Could it be that Jacob was wrestling with himself? Mm-hmm. I don't have time to go into this right now, but could it be that Jacob was wrestling with himself? Was he wrestling with the lower vibration of who he was? Because we are created in the image and the likeness of God. And I need for us to understand something. With God, there is no competition. God is not in this space where he's competing with the enemy. They're not equals. Mm-hmm. Okay? So we are fighting with the lower vibration of ourselves. And the truth of the matter is, all we got to do is let go. I feel the glory of the Lord here this morning. I hope I'm making sense to some people. I hope you're grabbing what I'm saying. I hope you're lifting your mind to hear what I'm saying, because you've been blaming so many things outside of yourself when the issue has been yourself the whole entire time. I'm trying to learn how to be, Apostle. No, you don't have to learn how to be. You just be. Mm-hmm. You just accept what God has already put on the inside of you. Success already belongs to you. Mm-hmm. Being great is already in your DNA. Your daddy is that. So only thing you have to do is walk it out. And it gets hard to walk it out when other things are calling for you, when lower vibrations are calling for you. If you want to call it the enemy, that's fine. But just as long as you get over it. That's what I'm saying. As long as you walk all through it and get to where you got to go next. I hope that makes some sense to you. Okay, I'm doing this small place today. I'm going to try to get through as much as I can. We may not like agitation, but agitation is producing the promise that we asked for. Okay, that's a part of that. So this agitation has everything to do with your journey. These spaces that you feel, these places where you feel like you're in a pit stop, these places where you feel like you're in a low space and you don't understand what's going on. Seems like nothing is working. Seems like the world around you is crumbling. Ask me how I know. Seems like what used to work for you is no longer working for you. Okay, and we can ask Elijah about this. Elijah gave a word of the Lord, and then the word of the Lord, he had to live in that. So he was trying to get water out of the brook, and then the brook dried up. He was like, okay, what do I do next? He didn't start cursing the brook. He said, God, what's next? Ushamasai. Sekamasiyamahai. I'm sorry. Ekamasandadalabasoya. And some of you have been saying, God, I don't know what this is. This is not feeling good right now. And he says, yes, ask me what's next. Pursue the next. Don't spend too much time here worried about how you feel in this space, but pursue the next. This has dried up because the next is here. Somebody needs to celebrate this morning because the fact that you're feeling the way you are feeling is not necessarily a proclamation of something terrible in your life. It is a proclamation of your next. Y'all not going to hear me. The fact that things don't seem to be working out, or the fact that things seem to be crumbling, the fact that things don't seem to be doing the way that they used to do, everything seems to be out of whack, is not a detriment to your life, but it is exactly a pronouncement that it's time for your next, that the next is here. People quote this all the time. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy come in the morning. Could it be that your morning is here, but you're so used to weeping that you can't receive the morning? It's almost like the joke that they make. If you're in jail and the jail cell all of a sudden opens up, nobody ain't running immediately. They're just kind of looking around like, is this real? Is this real? And some people will stay in bondage because they think it's a joke. No, this is not a joke. God is ready to take you to your next. Your next has arrived. And the announcement of that is the fact that everything in your last season, everything from your last dimension does not no longer wants you. And so God now is allowing that to spit you up, and you feel rejected and you feel some kind of way, and it brings anger sometimes. But I want to encourage you that your ending is not the ending of you. The ending of the last season is not the ending of you. You are in a place called transition. Transition is your vehicle to your high place. And if you don't take the vehicle, you may have to walk. And that could take a very long time. Man, I feel a preach on me. I feel a preach on me. I feel a preach on me. And I don't know where you are this morning. I don't know if you're driving in your car. I don't know if you're in your bathroom, laying in your bed. I don't know what you're doing, sitting at the table, eating breakfast. I have no clue. But I want you to know that the proclamation that you did, or the things you're dealing with right now, is not a proclamation of your ending. It is actually a proclamation of the beginning of your next season, your next dimension, your next space. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And it's about to happen in this earth. It's about to happen in this earth. Oh my God, I feel the glory of the Lord here. I gotta hurry up and get out of here. I gotta hurry up and get out of here. We have to learn how to not only trust God's character, but trust his timing. And not just trust his timing, but I'm trusting that his timing is giving me a chance to manufacture and maneuver myself to a point to be ready for what he's trying to give me. Okay. Not only do we trust God, but we trust his timing, and we trust his timing to the point that we know it's giving us a chance to get ourselves prepared for our next. Okay. The fact that they haven't called you is not because you're rejected. It's because you're not ready. It's because blessing has a burden. Blessing has a cousin called burden. Okay. And God not only has to get you ready for the blessing, but he also has to get you ready for the burden. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're going to be famous. But are you prepared for the lights to be shining on you when you're famous? Mm. Lights bring heat. Stages bring pressure. Are you prepared for heat and pressure? This is a question I ask myself all the time. Are you prepared for heat and pressure? Heat and pressure brings other people's opinions to the forefront. Not just good opinions, but stinky opinions. Are you prepared? Can you handle that? And we all think that we can handle something when we want it. It's like a kid who wants a car and they don't understand that that car note is going to come every month along with the insurance. If you live in Georgia, that's going to be some high insurance. Along with the fact that you have to get the oil changed. Along with if something goes wrong, you got to pay for it. Blessing has a burden. So you feel good while you're driving. But on the day you come and it doesn't start, on the day it starts shaking while you on 75, y'all not going to talk to me. Then you realize, oh, shoot, your cousin here, burden. See, it's imperative that we allow God to take us through whatever challenges that we're dealing with so that we can learn how to deal with those so that when we see it again, we say, oh, I saw that before. I did that already. That's nothing. I got that. This is what we're going to do here, and this is what we're going to do there. But many of us, if we saw what was ahead of us, we would have quit already. I'm telling you right now, had I saw what was going to be ahead of me 28 years ago when I started ministry, I would have quit. No, I'm not that great to say, oh, I would have still done it. I would have nope. I would have quit. I would have did something else. And here's the truth of the matter. Something else would have had another burden. So you don't escape. It's a part of life. It's a part of our journey. I just got maybe two more things to say to us, and then I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna get off. Okay. Here's something else that the Lord spoke to me. Uh, um, there was a dog out at the neighbor's house who just would not stop barking. He barked for like a week. He or she barked for like a week, and I didn't understand what was going on. As a matter of fact, when it was time to do these sessions, I would be like, I hope the dog don't start barking. I don't, like somebody needs to get a hold of that dog. And as I lay in bed one morning listening to the dog bark, glory to God, glory to God. God revelated something to me. He said, you know what? Nobody cares that the dog is barking to the moon, because I had almost forgot that the dog was barking. I was actually on the phone with my mother, and she said, gee whiz, that dog is barking. Somebody need to tell the dog to be quiet. And I'm thinking in my head, like, I had to tune in actually to hear that the dog was barking because I had completely tuned out. I didn't even know the dog was barking anymore. The Holy Spirit began to talk to me when I laid in bed that night. He said, listen, Francis, a dog barking at the moon, nobody cares about it. They only would care or pay attention if the moon started barking at the dog. And I turned that over quite a bit. Turned it over quite a bit. What was he trying to tell me? That people will always have something to say, but our response is what matters. See, when you're in a high place, you can't take time to respond to low places anymore. That's the lower vibration of you calling to the higher you. And we got to get to the point where we realize that we're in a space called the moon, and the moon never responds to what's beneath it. I hope I'm making sense here for some of you. If you're going to be who God called you to be, you got to treat yourself as the moon and realize that you are not responsible for responding to everything that barks to you from the ground. Are y'all getting what I'm saying? We would all be like, what the heck? If the moon responded to the dog barking, we would all be like, what is going on? Everybody would be nervous. Everybody would be scared because we don't expect that from the moon. It's so high. It's been here for thousands of years. It's not going anywhere. Okay? But that dog will come and go. What are you saying, Apostle? Some of us in this next season of our life, we got to get to the point where we treat ourselves as the moon. We're stationary. And we don't respond to things that are beneath us and that are outside of our purpose. The purpose of the moon is to light the night. I'm not here to fight with anybody. I'm just here to light the night. And I know what my purpose is. So when you know what your purpose is, you're no longer fighting with things that have nothing to do with your purpose. I need for you to hear me this, because we've been talking about depression, oppression, stress, anxiety, but a lot of anxiety that many people feel is because of that cousin called burden. And that burden usually does a lot of barking. And it is waiting for your response. People oftentimes ask me, Apostle, you ain't saying nothing. Blah, 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 blah. No, I don't say nothing not because I'm a punk, but because I'm the moon. Why would I be responding to barking dogs? Know your purpose, folks. And when you know your purpose, you stand in your purpose no matter what is happening. Most people who do a lot of responding are people who don't know who they are, people who don't understand their purpose just yet. And the more you open up, the more you grow, the more you matriculate, the more you grow and mature, you begin to understand your purpose even the more. And you no longer fight with things that have zero to do with your forward movement. All things work. So maybe it is a testing, your exam before you go to your next. Maybe it is your testing to see if you bark back at dogs when you are the moon. Oh, that's good to me. That's good to me. One more thing, and then I get out your way here. Well, two more things because I think they're good. Okay. Pain usually causes us to build walls around our hearts, walls around our life, when really we should be building fences. Because when there's a wall, nothing can get in and nothing can get out. But when there's a fence, you have little slits. And then bigger than that, there's a gate that you can open to let good things in and good things out, and let bad things out. Good things in and bad things out. Here's where I want to focus, though. As a young child, my grandmother was big on screen doors. We could be somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and if she saw a door to a house that didn't have a screen door, she would say, "Look at that house with a door and no screen on it. They need a screen door." And I would be like, what in the world is she tripping about a screen door for? It doesn't make sense to me. It's a door. We want to close it. It keeps the outside stuff out. It keeps what we want in. It's a protective thing. Screen door, what's the point? One day I said to her, I said, "Grandma, why do you carry on about these screen doors everywhere we go?" I started bugging her about it. Like, what is the problem? And she said to me, she said, "Screen doors are important because it allows you to get the breeze without the debris." I feel, y'all gonna have to help me here because I feel the glory of the Lord springing up. I'm about to run around. I'm about to run around. She said, it allows you to get the breeze without the debris. What are you saying, Apostle? I'm saying when it comes to our lives, we need a screen door. Some of us are missing out on love. We're missing out on the friendships we need. We're missing out on the relationships we need. We're missing out on the biggest loves of our life because we have built up walls and doors. Walls that don't have fences or gates, and doors that don't have screens. It's imperative that we allow spirit to be our screen door. Y'all not gonna talk to me. It's imperative that we allow spirit to lift up or raise up in our life to where we understand that we are not to miss out on life because we've been hurt before. You gotta love like you've never been hurt. Ooh, that's so good. I used to hate to hear that because I would think in my head, I've been hurt. My feelings have been hurt. I don't want my feelings hurt. But I had to learn how to love like I've never been hurt. And the way you do that is not by building up walls, not by separating yourself, not by shutting people out, but you do it by a screen door where you can let in the breeze, let in the love, let in the joy, let in the peace without the debris, without the foolishness. Is that good enough? Oh, that's so good. I could go even a little bit further, but I'll let it be. Lastly, Holy Ghost spoke this to me. This was on last Friday, and I didn't get a chance to share it with you. He said to me, standards are not your judgment, Francis. Your standards are not judgment against other people. Sometimes when you set standards for yourself and people don't understand them, they think it's a judgment against them. And so what it does is, at least what it did to me is, it put me to a point where I didn't set boundaries with people because I didn't want people to think I was judging them. People would always say to me, "Oh, you're so bougie. You so this, you so that." And I couldn't really understand it because I've been this way my whole entire life. It's not an act. It's not something that some persona I put on. You know what I mean? I'm just who I am. So I couldn't understand it. And so I took away boundaries because I didn't want people to think I was being a funny dude or that I was bougie or I was trying to act greater than everybody. So I took away my standards, or I took away or lowered things because I didn't want people to feel no kind of way. I didn't want them to feel judged. But what it did was it left me in a vulnerable space that people could take advantage because I didn't let down my guard of who I was. No, my standards are not a judgment against you. It's the standards that I live by. And I'm allowed to live by my standards. Mhm. You are allowed to live by your standards. And the way you feel about you and your life is not a judgment to other people. Yes, people will make it a judgment, but it doesn't mean that it is. And I had to learn how it's okay if people don't receive the fullness of who I am. But I can't stop being that because people don't receive it. Folks, be you. That's the gist of what I'm getting at today. Be you. Don't allow people to take you out of your you space. Be you. When you're being you, you are your best. I had to make a choice whether I wanted to be loved or accepted. Loved or accepted. And I realized that I'm fueled by love. I chose love. So when you choose love, do you have to get to this point where you say, you know what, folks? This is who I am. People, people are calling me right now while I'm on. Ain't that crazy? People, let's see if I can grab here my thought that took me out of my space here. Choose love, okay? And love makes you be honest about who you are. If people don't love the honest you, then they don't love you. They love somebody that you made up. Could it be that a lot of your anxiety and your frustration and your stress and your depression comes from having to keep up a facade? It's okay to lose people if they don't love the authentic you. Some people wanted to love me as the person that they have imagined me to be. But that's no good. That's not real. I want people to love the real me, right? With all my flaws and all, or what they think is flaws. Because just because you think it's a flaw doesn't mean it is. Maybe in your book and in your reality, but it's me. Let's not get caught up in letting people love the fake us, the one you put together so that you can be accepted. No, choose love. Choose love. God is love. That's his genetic makeup is love. That's who we are. That's what we're made of. That's how we function. Okay? I done said a lot today. Would you like to sew with us? Information is going to be across the screen. Go ahead and do that today. Did you get my new book? Get my new book. It's imperative that you get it. All right. I want you to have the most amazing day today. Once again, we're praying for each and every one of you. I'm praying specifically for those of you whose hearts are still hurting over this election. Praying for you. We got work to do. Amen. We got work to do. I'm praying for those of you who are taking care of parents. I'm praying for you. Those of you who have lost family members, praying for you. Ernestine, Deacon Hill, praying for you guys. The loss of your grandmother, praying for you earnestly. That's what I do. You can count on an apostle to pray. That's what I do. Praying for God's people everywhere. I want you to have the most amazing weekend. You sow with us today. I feel the urge to push that today. All over. All of you who are part of the creative experience, I'm going to challenge you today. Sow $100 seed today. All of you, everybody. If you're not a part of the creative experience and you feel the unction to be a part of this move with us in sowing today, go right ahead. All right? But we're going to sow today. Get in your heart. Sow something. Put something. That sowing thing is right in the chat. I'm going to put it in there again. All right. Put it in there again. Sow with us today and believe God. All right. I love you. I want you to have a most amazing day today and have a perfect Monday. I'll see you on Wednesday for what is it? For midday manna. See you Wednesday for midday manna. I love you. Have a great day in the wonderful, matchless name of Jesus. Peace.